He puts his arm around my shoulder, like if he's walking with me, right? Right. So we're walking, right? We're walking, and I'm just still bawling, and I'm just like, but you don't understand me, and you do this all the time. And he goes, well, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, right? So when he says that, I get upset. So I spin from under his arm, right? This is when I see Mr. Hodges in a black Jeep pull up. He turns down the street. He stays right there and he parks. At this point, that little bitty trigger word sent me off again. So I'm upset. I'm like, I'll walk. I'm fine. He's like, get back over here. I'm like, I'm fine. So I continue to walk down Pisgah, opposite direction. We park east. I begin walking west down Pisgah. In my mind, I'm thinking he's going to get the car, pull up on the side of me, baby me, stroke my ego, and I'll get back in the car. I was unaware at that point that Mr. Hodges had said anything to him. So as I'm walking westbound, I don't see the car. So I'm just like, did he leave me? You know, like did he seriously leave me? Basically, you know, I just need to calm down. I'm fine. We had a verbal altercation. Everything is fine. And so he said, well, if you give me your information, you can be on your way. And so I told him again, I'm not giving you my information because there's nothing. You're basically going to make nothing into something, was my mindset. And so he said, you're not going to give me your information. I said, I'm not. He said, well, I have to go and let my supervisor know. I had never seen an officer force someone into handcuffs because they refused their help. Never. So at this point, I'm perplexed. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they thinking that I've done something, or I just had a million thoughts running through my mind, right? And then that instant flight or fear response kicked in. And so I'm just like, I'm not about to go to jail for something that never happened, right? At this point, when I was at Regional 1, I let them know that I was pregnant. I told them, I said, I don't want any medical treatment. I'm fine. I just want to get to wherever I need to go so I can get home to my children. The handcuffs were so tight on my wrist. They bruised, and I had indentions in my wrist for weeks at a time. For weeks at a time. My wrists were so swollen because the handcuffs had cut off my circulation. And so they have note of that too as well in the records at the hospital and at the intake at the jail east. I did not want to put my fiance in a position to be victimized by the police because he's a black man. I did not want him being racially profiled because someone else that's of the opposite race of me had a different version of events. So I was thinking about protecting my fiance. I was also thinking the police did not have my best interest, because if they did, the approach and the interaction would have been different from the initial encounter, and it was not. He approached me with his mind already made up, as if he believed the version of events that was told to him before he encountered me. He approached me asking me to show him evidence that I had not been abused before he even asked me if I had been abused. And so his interactions throughout this entire process told me that he was only interested in me being a black woman having a verbal altercation in a predominant white neighborhood. And from what he may have perceived or profiled it to be, if that was his motive of calling the police and reporting what he perceived it would be. Even more so, that he pulled a gun. We're forgetting that he pulled a gun on an unarmed black man. And so how do I justify this to law enforcement? So I have to make myself look like the hero and make the fiance look like the victim and make the young lady look damsel in distress. But from his lens, I was just a black woman who was being beaten, choked, and he had to come in and save the day. On the phone, Officer Price was told that the assault charges would be felony charges. And then he called someone else to confirm it. And then they said, well, no, it'll be a class whatever misdemeanor. So they were trying to literally stick it to me. I think just me having them inconvenienced couldn't have gone in vain, is what I'm thinking. So getting there, going through that excruciating process, just having to strip, just literally being stripped of my dignity, being treated as if I was already guilty. You know, the saying innocent until proven guilty is the furthest from the truth. Because you're treated like a criminal the moment you are put in handcuffs, whether you did it or not. Your day in court is the day that you have to prove that you're innocent, and you better pray that you have money for legal counsel. For me, what changed was when I saw that I had people who didn't even know me. They didn't know anything about me, about my background. And they were able to stand up and say, what happened to you was wrong. What happened to you mattered. You mattered.